Hello, welcome back to my channel. I am really excited to share episode 1 of the Junk Journal project with me for the 4x4 familiar flowers. We've been talking about this for a long time. I think I have shipped out 20 kits, and I have a couple that just ordered, I think 2 or 3 ones to go out still. So if you have not received it yet, either it should be there any day and you can put this in your watch later so that you can rewatch it, or it is going to be shipped out by the end of the week if you just ordered one. There are still a few available kits on my Etsy. So if you really like what's going on here and you would like to purchase one of those kits, you can do so. And if you do that, I'll get it out with the ones going out this week. So you should get it next week. Anyway, it's going to take us a week to 2 weeks to get through this whole thing because I'm trying to break it down into manageable bites. So if you only have a few minutes, you can do it and also go into a little bit more detail in the whys of things. I also have to apologize for something. This is the first kit for a project that I've put together, and I am learning as I go. I am preparing for the January one, and I realized as I was thinking last night, I think a few of the kits got shipped out without tickets, which are part of the ephemera pieces, and a few of the kits got shipped out without a button, which is part of the cover decoration. So first, I apologize. I need to write a detailed list for next time. I had like everything, a whole kit, but I missed it because they were small pieces, and sometimes I have a lot on my mind, so I really apologize for that. 2 things I'm going to do to make it up to you. The first thing is I'm going to show you an alternate way when we get to that part using what you have in your kit. And 2, when you order the January kit, I will have a coupon code for everybody who's purchased one. So if you're going to be ordering it, you're going to want to contact me on my Facebook group or my Instagram, and you can check those in the link below, and you're going to want to say, I'm going to want that coupon. And if your kit was missing something, tell me what it was missing, and you will get a further discount. It will be more than make up for it, because everybody who's purchased this kit is going to get 10% off the January kit. If I forgot a button in your kit or I forgot a ticket in your kit, you'll get 15% off. And since the next one is going to be more expensive because there's more stuff involved in it, you're definitely going to want that. So did you see the little hand come up here? I had to pause it. Anyway, okay, so here we go. We're going to be constructing and decorating the cover today. So what you will need from your kit is the cover. It should look like this, and there's different colors. So get your cover, get your dictionary, old dictionary paper, your flower images, your lace or ribbon. Some kits have lace, some kits have ribbon, the 2 eyelets, and the button. And if you do not have the button, then I will show you what you can do instead of that. From your own supplies, you're going to want a pair of scissors, any color ink, I'm using green, and a crocodile to set the eyelets. So if you do not have a crocodile, 2 things. 1, you can either go to Hobby Lobby and buy one, and I suggest, they sell them other places, Michael's, Amazon, other places you can buy them. I say Hobby Lobby because I got mine at Hobby Lobby when all of their punches were 40% off. And so I got this 40% off, and it's definitely been worth it. I've had a little bit of problems with it, probably because as you can see, some of these are kind of ruined, but that's probably just because I was using it wrong or I was hard on it. But I really don't see a better option, and it is quite heavy duty here. So it's definitely worth replacing when, it does break or I'm too hard on it. And if you do not want to buy one and you cannot afford one, then I will also show you what you can do so you don't have to use the eyelets. All right, so let's get right into it. We're going to start with the cover. And the first thing we're going to do is distress it. Now this is basic, simple. I'm not going into a whole bunch of stuff, but you're going to take your ink pad. Of course, if you do not have ink, you do not want to distress it, you can leave it just the way it is, or you could even take a marker and just kind of do the edges a little bit if you wanted to, or a little bit of watercolor paint or something like that too if you wanted to. But this is just a green Stampability's pigment ink pad. You could use Distress inks, you could use any kind you want. I like that these have kind of a soft squishy sponge, so you don't need a blender. You can use this ink right on it. And so I just flick over the edges to kind of seal, it doesn't seal the edge, but it looks finished. And the green is really pretty on this purple. These are going to look really Eastery. Okay, so then once you've done that, and I just did the 3 sides here, flipped it over the 3 sides here. If you wanted to, you could also ink the spine. You could open it up and ink all inside as well if you wanted to, but I just inked the outside. Okay, next, let's just zoom in a little bit. Okay, so next we are going to get our eyelets set, and we're going to do that first so that when we start decorating the cover, we don't decorate too far over and there won't be room for the eyelets. So here's my cheat so I don't have to measure. If you hold it closed, this will punch through more than 1 layer of paper, and then just punch. And I don't measure exactly. All right, so then you'll have a punch through there. You're going to take your eyelets and just place it in there. And you could use mini eyelets too. These are just the regular sized ones. And then with my Crop-A-Dile, I'm going to, and I'm not going to teach you how to use this because mine does not even have, some of the sides are broken, so I'm just using what I have available. There are YouTube videos on how to use this if you want to, and I think I've even done a video like a long time ago on how to do it, but I'm just going to set it. Alright, so if you do not have a Crop-A-Dile, you can either just go ahead and get a hole punch the holes and leave it like that. It might rip. You could get those hole reinforcers, you know, for like school papers and put that on it. You can kind of like ink them up brown or color them in brown. Or when you get your ribbon or lace, you can just hot glue it on as long as you don't pull too hard. Or you can, if you have a sewing machine, stitch it on. So those are my ideas. Or if you don't make it too thick, you don't even have to add a closure to it. All right, and so I'm going to take my length of lace. So take your length of lace, ribbon, whatever you have, fold it in half and cut it. So you have 2 pieces that are about the same length. And this is how I usually do it, but there's lots of ways, so you can do whatever you want. I start from the inside and I thread it to the outside. And then I tie. I just like the look of it. And then you can either leave it like that, double knot it, or add just a little dot of like hot glue right there and press it down so it doesn't pull off. But this lace is catching enough that it's not pulling through. If you have a ribbon, you might want to double knot it or add a little bit of hot glue so it doesn't pull out. And so you're going to do the exact same thing to the back. Okay? Here we go. I know my boys are kind of loud in the background. Oh, what was I just saying? Someone asked me if this was going to be a live video, and I was like, no. That would not work. I don't know how many times I'll have to pause this just to finish. Okay, so now we have those on, and then after I tie it, I usually just make sure they're the same length, because when you tie it, sometimes one tie is longer, so just trim that to be the same length. Okay, for our cover, we're going to start with the vintage dictionary paper, and you can just tear it down to a manageable size. You can cut it if you don't like the ripped look, but, and what's really neat is that I think all of you, most of you, if not all of you, got their like Bible dictionary pages, so that works really well if you're trying to do an Easter theme. If you don't want, you know, the one I sent you, you could use any dictionary paper that you might have. Okay, so then I'm going to grab my glue, which is in my drawer here somewhere. Oh, I was wondering. For all of you who watched me with the junk trunk kit unboxing and I couldn't find my trunk kit, it was right here in my drawer all the time. Okay, so I'm going to use this liquid glue. And just add a little bit of glue here to the back. You can use a tape runner. You can use a glue stick. I would probably use a glue stick. You know, or just a little bit of liquid glue so it doesn't get it too wet. That's why this one's good for liquid glue, because it doesn't get the paper too wet. All right, so we're going to put that down. Now, I sent you more flowers than you will need for this. So let me zoom out again. That's in. I always forget which way is which. Come on, zoom out. All right, so you got 2 pages full of flowers, and you can choose any one that you would like for the cover. There's no right or wrong. So I'm going to choose this one too, the Common Marigold. And then just roughly cut it out. We'll be using some of the other flowers to make journaling cards or tuck spots or things later on. And then, as I said, on the bottom of all of it, it says digitized by Internet Archive, original from University of California. That's because I got these online. They are public domain, but this is just telling where it's from. You can either leave that on, or like what I'm going to do, I'm just going to trim it off, and here we go. Okay. And then I'm going to, I really like the ripped look, and I've really been doing that a lot. So I'm going to carefully rip around, and I'm going to leave the name Common Marigold because I like that. Okay. I'm just going to rip around the flowers. You can leave it like a rectangle if you prefer. All right. And then I'm going to take my green ink again, or take whatever color you have. And I'm just going to brush it on the edges. And see how that green really brings out both the yellows and the greens in there? And it finishes it. This is printed on presentation paper just like yours is. It's still fairly thin. I mean, it's a good quality, but it's still kind of thin. So this just kind of makes it look like it has more depth. And then we're going to glue it over the dictionary paper. The dictionary paper is can't talk. Going to kind of be a frame for it. And my cat's just dumped something on the floor. All right. Put that down. All right. And then we are going to accent it with a button. Now, if you had a kit that had a button, they were all supposed to have buttons, so it's my bad if I missed it. So if you have a button, you're going to take your button and a little bit of the green thread, the crochet thread, just snip a little piece off. You're going to use the rest for sewing in a signature, but you just need a little piece. I don't know, I think this is about 3 inches long. And then you don't even have to pre-stitch the button. If you just want to glue it straight on, you can glue it straight on. But I like to pre-stitch it just to give it that look. And then what I do is I just make one little tie. You can double knot it if you want to, but since we're gluing it on, that tie is not going to slip. And then I just cut off the extra. And then I would suggest you use hot glue for this, but I don't have my hot glue gun plugged in over here. So I'm going to use this glue. And then just pick a place where you like where it looks and press down. Now, if you have hot glue, it's going to hold right away. I suggest the Gorilla brand hot glue because it is about 4 to 5 times stronger than your regular hot glue. Also, it gives you more, I think it's about 20 seconds. You can kind of, well, maybe not that much, but you at least have a few more seconds to like move something around before it sticks right away, which was my problem with the cheap multi-purpose glue sticks. Okay, so this is our cover. It is totally done now. If you did not have a button, I'm going to show you a little trick you could use. You did receive some coffee dyed strips, and it will be definitely more than you need. So just cut a little square off the end. And then kind of rip it into a flower, a circle, a torn circle. So like maybe it's like a ripped flower, okay? We go. And then all of you should have pieces of fabric that we'll be using later on, but just trim off a little piece off of one of them. It won't affect what you're doing later, okay? And then take your glue. I guess I better zoom in again, okay? So take your glue and glue it in the center, like it is the center of the flower, okay? Then take your ink, if you would like, and just kind of ink the edges. All right, and then take one of your journaling cards. I sent you all more journaling cards than you will use in here, I am pretty sure. So just look through the colors because you would have gotten different different types of colors probably. So I'm just taking this one and glue this somewhere in the middle of it. Okay, then rip around that, leaving a border. And you might want to do it a little smaller. I guess this is turning out kind of big, but it could look really nice. All right, there you go. And then you can use the same color ink or a different color ink to ink the edges up. And then instead of that, you would just put it there. And mine looks kind of like an oval, but you can just keep playing around with ripping it off till maybe it's a little more circular. Go. And you can cut them out to different shapes or whatever, but there, you'd have like this little ripped paper flower, and you can do that. Most of you probably have buttons somewhere around that you could add one. All right, so there's our cover, and in our next episode, which will probably, I don't know if it'll be tomorrow, hopefully. It might not be tomorrow, but it'll be sometime in the next couple days. Oh, wow. I'm already ahead of myself because the closure was supposed to be done in the next episode. So the next episode, we are going to be doing the signatures and sewing them in. Or the signature. There's only one signature. We're going to be putting together the signature and sewing it in. Now, this wound up being longer than I thought it would be, so I better stop and get it up so that it will actually upload. But I hope you enjoyed making the cover with me. Please go over to my Facebook group, Nevermore Creations, Junk Journals, and Friends, and I will put that in the link below. And please take a picture of the cover that you made. And I would love to see it. It would be so much fun to see what we're all making. And of course, you can incorporate any of your crafting supplies that you want into this to push it to the next level.